Hello there. Welcome to the Dream Lab. I'm so glad you've wandered in tonight. Tell me, where are you watching from? A quiet room? A glowing phone screen? Maybe the hush between stars and sleep? Wherever you are, I hope it feels soft and safe. Tonight, I want to ask you something gentle. How do your memories find their way back to you? Not just the loud ones, the birthdays, the bright flashbulb moments, but the quiet ones. The scent of rain on concrete, the weight of your childhood blanket, the feeling of being called home. Where do those live, and how do they return, so softly? As if whispered, tonight we'll drift into the brain's most delicate places, tiny forests of neurons that hum in silence. We'll explore how these quiet cells carry the past inside them, like old light, and how, even while you sleep, they stitch your story back together, one electric sigh at a time. So, if your thoughts feel heavy tonight, or your mind is buzzing with undone lists, come rest here a while. You don't need to learn anything. Just listen. Let the science unfold like mist. Let wonder make space for stillness, and if this little journey brings you peace, you're welcome to subscribe. Or share it with someone whose thoughts get loud at night. But only if it feels kind. Now close your eyes if you like, or just breathe a little slower. The neurons are ready. Let's follow their whispers. Let's remember. Softly, have you ever wondered how your memories find their way home? Not as flashes or facts, but as feelings, as fragrances, as echoes you never meant to keep. Tonight, we'll listen to the silent choir inside your head. Neurons, glowing like stars, in a dark forest, each one singing your name in the language of the past. There is a quiet hum inside your head. Not loud, not sharp, more like the sound a candle makes when you lean in close, or the way the sea whispers even when it seems still. It isn't music, and yet it sings. It doesn't speak, and yet it remembers. This is your brain. Not just an organ of thought, but a garden of light. A network of cells older than your first word. Each neuron is a flicker. Each connection is a thread of story. And somehow, this hidden forest knows you. Imagine walking into a vast cathedral, no walls, only night and starlight, and in every corner, a voice rises. Tiny and golden, like a memory calling your name from far away. Your neurons do this. Every moment you remember something, it's because they've found one another again. Electricity arcs. A circuit closes, and suddenly, you're 5 years old again, chasing soap bubbles in a backyard that no longer exists. But the memory does. The shape of it lives in the way those neurons fire, in the paths they've built together. Like dancers tracing steps they've always known, you were born with nearly all the neurons you'll ever have. But they weren't born knowing who you are. That part, the weaving of self, the music of memory, that's something your brain learns slowly. One spark at a time. You don't command your memories to appear. They arrive when they wish, rising like steam off warm pavement, or like a song that plays just as you think of someone. This is not coincidence. It is the brain's language, spoken in pulses and patterns, whispers of connection, echoes of time. Even now, as you lie here, listening, your neurons are humming. Some are quiet, some are bright. A few may be lighting up just because of this story, because something here reminds them of something else. This is how memory moves. Not like a library, but like the way light travels across water, bending, refracting, shifting with the waves. There are trillions of synapses in your brain, tiny spaces between neurons, where the past leaps across a microscopic sea. Each one a possibility. Each one waiting for a spark. And once sparked, that path grows stronger. It's as if your brain is a forest, and your thoughts leave footprints in the moss. The more you walk a memory, the clearer the trail becomes. This is why some memories feel so vivid, not because they're more real, but because your brain has walked them more often, strengthened their light, sung their shape again and again, and the memories that fade, they aren't truly gone, they're just harder to reach, the trail overgrown, the spark less certain. But sometimes, even they return, in dreams, in scent, in a word that unlocks something ancient inside you. Tonight, you might feel far from your memories, but they are not far from you. They live in your every breath, in the way your body knows how to hold a pen, in the comfort you feel from a voice you trust. You are not just a keeper of memory. You are memory. Your identity, your feelings, the warmth of a hand you haven't held in years, they all exist here, folded in the quiet sparks that flicker just beneath your skull. And still, the brain does not shout, it whispers. It hums like wind through reeds, it remembers in silence, and it sings, always, without sound. You may not hear the song, but your cells do. They dance to it, they become it. Even now, your neurons are preparing for sleep, for rest, but also for something else. Because the past does not rest easily. It reshapes itself, again and again, even while you sleep. So, as we drift toward the next chapter, let me ask you something soft. What happens to memory when the body finally sleeps, but the brain stays lit like a lighthouse at sea? There is lightning inside you. Not the loud, sky-cracking kind, but a gentle storm that never ends. It lives beneath bone, quiet, flickering, ancient. Beneath your skull, just a few millimeters deep, billions of neurons pulse like fireflies. In a hidden field, each one is tiny, but together they create the thoughts that make you you. Your brain doesn't wait for your command. It's always working, gathering, pruning, connecting, and every time you think, or feel, or remember, you send a spark into that living web. Imagine, standing in a dark valley at night. Suddenly, a match is struck, then another, then 1,000. That's what happens when your mind recalls the scent of rain, the curve of someone's smile, or the first time you heard your name spoken kindly. These sparks, electrical pulses, travel through axons like whispers down a glowing hallway. Each one is a message, a ripple that says, "This mattered." And you don't control them all. Many fire on their own, sparked by rhythm, emotion, or scent. They remind you of a song you haven't heard in years, or the color of a place you barely remember. Some fire in the moment, others fire to remind you who you are, that you've loved, that you've lost, that you've survived, and while the world sees your eyes, your voice, your smile, none of them can see this secret lightning show beneath the bone. The inner sky that burns softly with every quiet thought you never speak aloud. These sparks are fast, faster than you can blink, faster than you can name the thing you're feeling. They make decisions before you know you've made them. They guide your hand when you reach for comfort, and they remember. Not in words, but in rhythm. If you touch something warm and feel safe, it's because a spark once danced that path before. If a voice softens your breathing, it's because the neurons beneath your skin have known that melody. The brain is not a computer. It doesn't store files. It reacts, it echoes, it layers, like an orchestra tuning itself to the quiet key of your life. Even now, in rest, these sparks continue. They drift like fire over the surface of sleep, illuminating dreams, rehearsing memories. You are never truly still. Even in silence, your neurons speak of you, soft sparks writing letters in the dark. And when you feel something stir, a memory you didn't call for, a thought that lands like dust on your chest, that may be a spark, slipping free from its rhythm to remind you that you're alive. It's strange, isn't it, that the most personal things, your laughter, your grief, your tenderness, are all made possible by tiny arcs of current beneath the bone of your skull. But it's also comforting, because those sparks have always been with you, guiding, firing, remembering. So tonight, let them fire gently. Let them light up what needs to be seen. Let them rest where they wish, because in the next chapter, we'll visit the quietest place between thoughts, a space so small it doesn't exist for long, but it holds everything that connects you to your past. The synapse that never sleeps. There's a space inside your mind so small it can't be seen, not even by the most careful microscope. It isn't empty, not truly, but it feels like a pause, a breath between thoughts. This is the synapse, the tiny cleft where one neuron ends and another begins. It is the in-between, the stillness that allows movement. When you remember something, a bridge forms here, fragile and fast. A single spark leaps across the gap, carrying not just electricity, but meaning. It's like tossing a note across a river of night, and somehow the note always lands exactly where it's needed. Your brain is made of trillions of these gaps, a galaxy of almosts, and yet they connect you to everything you've felt, every path you've walked in your mind. Imagine neurons as lanterns in a fog. They can't touch, they only glow, and in the space between them, something more mysterious happens. That's where memory is passed, not stored, but offered. In that passing, in that leap, a story lives. It is not always the same story. Because synapses change, they strengthen, they quiet, they bloom like flowers, or wither like forgotten paths. Every time you return to a thought, a memory, an emotion, that synapse glows a little brighter. The leap gets easier. The bridge becomes a road. And yet, the synapse is not only for remembering, it is for becoming. It's how you learn, how you heal, how you change. The space between is not just a gap. It's potential. It's possibility. When you're dreaming, these synapses flicker like candlelight. They fire without your permission. They play with meaning. They build strange new pathways, joining old memories to new ones, making metaphors that only sleep understands. Even in deep rest, the brain continues this quiet work, shuffling ideas, cutting away the noise, whispering to itself across the dark. You've felt this? That moment when you wake and understand something that confused you yesterday, as if the answer had been growing in the space between dreams. This is the synapse staying awake on your behalf. And what makes this little leap happen? A handful of molecules, neurotransmitters, but we won't name them here. Let's just say they are the messengers, the tiny swimmers in the space between. They do not shout, they glide. They knock softly on the door of the next cell, and, if the timing is right, a new spark begins, like lighting one candle from another. When you remember a face, a smell, a moment that mattered, you're witnessing this, not as science, but as wonder. Even the act of reading this now, your eyes moving over words, your thoughts following the rhythm, all of it is synapses singing. One cell lighting the next, and slowly, your brain learns, this path is meaningful, this matters, this is you. The synapse is so small, and yet, everything passes through it. Your childhood, your favorite song, the way your fingers know how to button a shirt, all of it travels between those tiny, silent spaces, never resting, always reaching. And so, even in the quietest part of your mind, you are never truly alone. There are connections still firing, bridges still forming, sparks still whispering the shape of your life into the shadows. Tonight, Let those bridges hold you. Let the space between thoughts become a place of peace, not confusion. Because, in the next chapter, we'll go further back to the first imprint ever left in your brain, a memory so old, you don't even know you carry it. The very first echo, the first time your neurons whispered something real. Before you knew your name, before you spoke, or even opened your eyes long enough to see the sky, your brain had already begun its quiet work. Not with words, not with images, but with feeling. You may think your earliest memory is a birthday, a flash of color, a voice from far away. But even those come later. The true first memory is not something you remember, but something your body never forgot in the beginning. You were, mostly, sensation, warmth, sound, the rhythm of a heartbeat, not your own. And the neurons inside you, new, still forming, were listening. They were soft at first, curious, blank slates in a deep, dark ocean. But they responded, even to the gentlest touch. A mother's skin, a lullaby hummed without words. A light, too bright, and then gone. Each of these left an imprint, a small trail, a flicker of recognition. Like footprints in snow, fading, but never completely gone. Your brain began to wire itself not from thought, but from experience. It was sculpted by comfort, by surprise, by repetition. You weren't memorizing events. You were learning the shape of being alive. And that shape, those first electric footprints, still live inside you. They are not memories you can picture, but they guide your feelings, your preferences, your quiet instinct for safety. Somewhere in the folds of your hippocampus, those early signals still hum, not loudly, but like the echo of a distant bell you can't quite name. You might not remember your first cry, or the first time your fingers curled around another. But your neurons do. They remember the first time your body was held, the first time a rhythm felt familiar, the first time your senses whispered, "This means comfort." That whisper became a map. Over time, neurons built trails along those paths, reinforced them, made them easier to find. This is how the brain grows itself, by layering meaning on top of feeling, and feeling on top of signal. Even now, your deepest sense of home may not be a place, but a sensation that traces back to a moment your mind can't reach, but your nervous system can. You carry that map, not in your memory, but in your reactions, your sense of what feels right, your instinct for softness. These first memories are pre-verbal. They bloom in the soil before language, before time, as you understand it, and they matter, because they shaped what safe means to you, what love feels like, what silence says, what a touch can promise. They are why some songs make you cry, even though you don't know why a certain kind of light feels like longing, why the smell of a blanket can calm you more than 100 comforting words. Your neurons whispered these truths long before you could explain them. They spoke in the only language they had: pulse, repetition, rhythm, spark, and you listened. You still do. So tonight, as you lie in stillness, know that your body carries memories older than your mind. Not broken pieces, but blueprints of safety, of being known, of being held. And in the next chapter, we'll follow how emotion began to paint your memories in deeper color, how feelings became the ink your brain uses to write your story down. Because even the quietest memories are written in feeling first. Not all memories weigh the same. Some drift past like dust in a quiet room, soft, unfixed, fading before you even notice. Others arrive like thunder, stirring your chest before your thoughts can name them. What makes the difference? Why does your brain keep some moments forever while letting others dissolve like mist? The answer is not logic. It's not importance, or clarity, or truth. It's feeling. Emotion is the ink your mind uses to write in bold. It seeps into your memories like dye in cloth, coloring even the faintest thread so it stays. You may forget the facts of a day, but never how it made you feel. The nervous tremble before a goodbye, the warmth behind a certain smile, the quiet hurt of being left out. Emotion sharpens the outline. It burns the memory brighter, etches the experience deeper into the folds of your brain. Inside you, the amygdala, a small almond-shaped structure, sits beside memory's library, watching, listening, and when something stirs your heart, it leans in, telling the brain, "This matters. Remember this." It doesn't speak with words. It moves with chemistry, with signals, with hormones, with a rush of feeling that leaves footprints in the mind. This is why joy stays, why fear returns, why grief echoes, because your neurons do not only store light, they store heat. And the hotter the moment burns, the more firmly it leaves its mark. But emotion doesn't only intensify memories, it shapes them. When you revisit a memory, you bring your current feeling with you, your sadness, your comfort, your wonder, and sometimes the feeling rewrites the scene. This is not failure. This is your brain's way of healing, of softening sharp edges, or deepening the color of joy. Emotion also helps you learn. A lesson paired with laughter or awe is far easier to recall than one wrapped in dryness. Because the brain listens to what moves you. Even now, as you listen to this, your body remembers its own responses. A sound that calms, a phrase that opens something inside you. And those feelings are helping your neurons strengthen what matters. There's something gentle about this, isn't there? To know that your heart is part of your mind's memory making. That feeling isn't separate from thinking, it's what gives it shape. So when you think of a moment you've carried for years, a glance, a goodbye, a song, pause and ask, what did I feel? Because it's the feeling that carved the trail back to that moment. Emotion is not a distraction from memory. It is the brush, the color, the thread that holds the pieces together. Even when the image fades, the feeling glows. And some nights, a single breath is all it takes for your body to remember something your mind forgot long ago. So, as you begin to drift, let the feeling rise. Don't chase it. Let it move gently across the canvas of your mind. Because in our next chapter, we'll follow these memories deeper into the dark, into the nightwork of the sleeping brain. A place where emotion and memory dance in secret. A place where memory reshapes itself. Under moonlight and neurons. When your body grows still and your eyes slip shut, the world may seem to pause. But inside you, the brain begins a secret ritual. Sleep is not silence. It is not absence. It is not the shutting off of thought. It is a different kind of remembering. As you lie here, your neurons shift into rhythm. Waves of slow, deep pulses roll through the brain like ocean tides, and beneath those waves, your memories stir. Not all memories, not loudly, but the ones that matter most tonight. The ones still unfixed. Still flickering, they rise to the surface. Your brain is not just storing these moments. It is shaping them, softening, trimming, folding them into the architecture of the self. It is as if your mind were a house, and while you sleep, the furniture moves. The walls breathe. The light tilts in unfamiliar ways, so that when you wake, something has changed. You may not remember the change. But it is there, in your ease, in your new way of seeing, in the soft distance from pain that once felt sharp. During deep sleep, memories are stabilized. Neurons replay the day's events, like a symphony repeating its theme, making the melody easier to recall. And then, in REM sleep, the dreaming phase, something more curious happens. Your brain begins to remix, memories blend, images dance, old feelings rise and combine with new stories. This is why dreams often feel surreal, and yet strangely true. Your brain is stitching meaning from the threadbare cloth of experience. A face you haven't seen in years might walk into a room that never existed. But somehow, it feels right. This, too, is memory. The dreamscape is not fantasy. It is the mind's workshop, disassembling and rebuilding, spinning straw into gold, or letting go what no longer serves. Even nightmares have their place. They bring what's buried into the light. They give fear a shape, so your neurons can learn how to quiet it. And in the softest dreams, your memories are bathed in gentleness, held like stones beneath water, made smoother by the current. This is the brain healing itself. Not just physically, but emotionally. You may fall asleep feeling frayed and wake with no explanation, only a subtle calm. That is memory, reshaped. By night, and when you wake, the brain keeps the best parts. Not always the truth, but the meaning, the lesson. The gentle thread that says, this is who you are becoming. Even now, as you listen, your brain is preparing to sort, to reweave, to whisper itself into something slightly new. Let the waves come. Let the day fall away like petals. Let memory become dream, and dream become light again. Because, in the next chapter, we'll follow one of memory's oldest companions, the sense that carries time, place, and feeling. With just a single breath, the scent that unlocks forgotten doors. A memory can hide for years, tucked away, folded quietly into the corners of your mind. And then a single scent, and it returns, whole, vivid, alive. Smell is your time machine. It bypasses thought, skips over logic, and slips straight into feeling. The scent of rain on dry earth, of soap on sun-warmed skin, of old books, old perfume, old trees. These are not just smells, they are keys, and inside you is a lock waiting to be turned. Unlike other senses, smell goes straight to the limbic brain, the part that feels, the part that remembers without asking. No middleman, no translation, just memory, arriving as sensation. It's why a whiff of pine can make your chest ache with childhood. Why the smell of a certain spice can bring tears without warning. The neurons that carry scent are ancient, older than words, older than story. They trace a direct path to the places where your past is stored. It is as if the brain trusts smell more than it trusts sight, more than sound. Because scent arrives with feeling wrapped inside. The memory of someone you loved may come not with a picture, but with a smell. That cologne they wore, the shampoo they used, the kitchen after they cooked something only they knew how to make. And in that moment, you are there again, not just remembering, reliving. Even the scent of dust in sunlight can carry the hush of an old classroom, or the soft loneliness of being the last one to leave. Your nose is not just a sensor, it's a lantern. It lights paths your thoughts forgot, paths your body still knows how to walk, and like all lanterns, it flickers with time. Some smells you no longer notice. Others you seek out without knowing why. But the brain remembers. It keeps the scent memories deep and safe, tied to emotion, bound by repetition. And as you sleep, smell continues its work. Not by bringing scents into dreams, but by preparing your memories for surprise, for sudden return, for warmth you didn't know you missed. Even now, as you lie in stillness, your scent pathways are open, ready. They are not searching, but they are listening, and when the right scent comes, even years from now, you'll feel it. That soft ache in your chest, the sudden smile, the sensation of being wrapped in something older than thought. So tonight, as you drift, imagine a scent you loved once. Something small, something forgotten. Let it come. And when it does, notice how your body leans into it, how your mind begins to soften, because in the next chapter, we'll step deeper into the hidden vault, the memories that don't rise through scent or sight, but through the way your body moves, reacts, and holds the past without words. The body that remembers, even when you don't. There are memories you do not think, but live. They live in your shoulders, your fingertips, your breath. You do not speak them. You don't always know they're there, but your body does, long before your brain gives something a name. Your muscles, your spine, your skin learn the pattern. They learn what to reach for, what to tense against, what to avoid. This is implicit memory, the memory beneath thought. A choreography written in the body, in tiny, silent motions repeated. Over time, imagine tying your shoelaces. You don't recite the steps, you simply move. The memory is in your hands, not your head. Or think of a lullaby you were once rocked to. You may not remember the words, but your body knows the rhythm, the sway, the softness of that moment. This kind of memory is made not from facts, but from repetition, from presence, from feeling safety or fear again and again, until the body memorizes what it means to be okay. Even trauma lives here. Sometimes, especially here, the body stores what the mind cannot hold. It braces, it learns, it adapts, not to punish you, but to protect you. A flinch that arrives before you understand why. A tension that lives in your jaw when nothing is wrong. These are your body's ways of whispering. We've been here before. But the body does not only hold pain, it holds grace, comfort, the memory of being cradled, of being danced with, of laughing so hard your muscles remembered the joy. Every hug you've given, every breath that soothed you, every step you learned as a child. Those movements are still inside you, waiting to be remembered not with thought, but with feeling. Even sleep has its posture. You settle into it without thinking. Your body remembers how to rest. And during the night, the body continues learning. Dreams may shift. Your heart rate, your breath, your sleeping limbs. Your brain watches quietly. It adjusts. It files those patterns away. This is how memory deepens, not just through what you recall, but through what your body knows. It's why a scent can make you sigh, why a touch can make you cry, why a song can make you sway before you remember where you first heard it. You are not only a thinker, you are a mover, a breather, a being shaped by invisible rhythms that repeat themselves through you. So, tonight, listen to your body. Not for language, but for memory. Feel where you hold tension, where you soften, where the breath lands when it's not being watched. That, too, is memory. That, too, is you. And, in the next chapter, we'll explore what happens when the body and the mind finally let something go. When neurons decide, a memory has served its time. When forgetting is not failure, but an act of quiet wisdom. Not all forgetting is loss. Sometimes, it's permission. Your brain, like a forest, must make space to grow. And forgetting is how it clears the path. You may think forgetting means something is broken, a failure, a flaw. But the truth is gentler than that. More natural, more kind. Your neurons, endlessly adapting, are not hoarders of memory. They are sculptors. Each day, they shape and reshape the self. They decide what to keep, what to soften, what to let fade into the silence. This process is called pruning, but it is more like a garden than a machine. Branches of memory that once bloomed brightly may curl inward over time, their signal dimming. Not because they were unimportant, but because your brain is making space for new growth, new meaning. Sometimes a memory disappears gently, like a mist that slips back into the air. You don't notice until you reach for it and find only a feeling, a shadow of a shape. Other times, it fades sharply. A name, a word, a face you used to carry easily suddenly gone. This, too, is part of the rhythm. The brain is not a vault. It is a river, always flowing, letting go of what it no longer needs to carry. Some memories are simply quieted, not erased, but placed in a deeper drawer, accessible only in dreams, or in the strange stillness between waking and sleep. And there are memories the brain protects you from, painful ones, sharpened by fear. It wraps them in silence, not to deny them, but to give you room to breathe. Even healing involves forgetting, not the kind that ignores, but the kind that softens the edge, loosens the grip. You may forget the details of a wound, but remember what it taught you. You may forget the words someone said, but carry their absence, like a map folded into your chest. Forgetting is a way of honoring the present. It lets you remain light enough to reach toward the new. It gives your neurons the freedom to rewire, to make room for the world as it is now. And in sleep, forgetting becomes gentle. Dreams pull old memories apart, shuffle the pieces, decide which ones still need tending, and which ones can return to the dark. Even now, as you rest, your brain is sweeping its floors, not erasing, but organizing, preparing you to meet tomorrow a little clearer. This is not failure. This is grace. So if something has slipped from you, a name, a place, a memory you thought you'd always hold, let it go softly. If it is needed, your brain will find its trail again. If not, know that forgetting is part of your becoming. Because, in the next chapter, we'll explore how memory isn't just a file, but a story your brain rewrites every time you remember it. A story written, not in stone, but in stars that shift ever so slightly each time you look up. Each time you remember something, you are not pulling it from a drawer. You are rewriting it. Memory is not fixed. It is fluid, more like a painting in the rain than a photograph. In a frame, your brain does not store perfect records. It stores impressions, feelings, moments stitched together by meaning. And every time you revisit them, they change, just a little. You bring your present self into your past, your current mood, your newest fears, your tenderness, your distance, your hope. All of it colors what you recall. It's like walking an old trail under a new sky. The path is familiar, but the light is different now, and so the memory bends. This isn't deception, it's not distortion. It's how the brain makes sense of a changing life. Because you are not the same person who made that memory. And your brain, in its quiet wisdom, knows that truth, so it reshapes the memory to better fit the story you're living now. Sometimes, a hard moment softens. Sometimes, a joyful one deepens. Sometimes, things blur because their sharpness no longer serves. Your memories are not history. They are identity. And identity is always unfolding. This is why two people can remember the same moment so differently. Each mind builds its own bridge from past to present. Even your own memories may feel like they belonged to a different version of you, because, in some ways, they did. Memory is not about facts. It is about meaning. When you remember a first love, you don't recall the dates. You recall the way your heart moved when they said your name. The quiet of the air, the color of light through the curtains, and even those shift each time you remember them. It can be unsettling to know that memory is soft, but it is also freeing, because it means you can grow without being chained to every shape. the past once took, it means you can heal. When you revisit a painful moment, your brain may rewrite it with new strength, new understanding, new grace. You're not erasing the past, you're reauthoring it from where you stand now. And this happens most gently in dreams. In sleep, the brain weaves memory and emotion into new patterns. It connects the old with the new, and in doing so, it tells a softer story. Tonight, your memories are still unfolding. They're not done. They are becoming . So, if something feels unfamiliar, a memory you once knew, now distant or different, don't fear. It is your mind tidying its narrative, letting the story grow. Because in the next chapter, we'll step into the mystery of time itself and how your brain bends it to fit the rhythm of your inner life. Time, as the brain remembers it, doesn't move in straight lines, but in circles of meaning. Time does not move evenly inside you. Clocks may tick in steady rhythm, but your memories do not. Some moments stretch long, golden, echoing forever. Others vanish, days gone in a blink, leaving behind only a blur. Your brain does not keep time like a watch, it keeps time like a heart. Moments filled with emotion, with surprise, with meaning. Those are remembered as longer, larger, louder, while routine days, quiet, familiar, without newness, are folded small. This is why childhood feels vast, and adulthood often swift. As a child, everything is novel. Each moment is a first snowfall, a first sorrow, a first hello, and the brain, hungry and wide-eyed, records it all in detail. But, as we age, fewer moments surprise us. The world becomes known, and the brain, efficient now, records less, not because it loves less, but because it needs space for meaning. So time feels faster. Not in reality, but in memory. It's not that time is slipping, it's that the brain has stopped writing everything down, but this isn't always so. In grief, time stretches, in love, it floats, in awe, it pauses, in fear, it sharpens, like broken glass. Your inner time is emotional. Even a scent, a sound, a sudden glimpse of something familiar can pull a memory into the present, as if no time has passed at all. You are there again. Your neurons fire in the same patterns. The moment becomes now, because, in the brain, there is no clean line between past and present. There is only experience. Echoed. Sometimes, memories that happened decades apart feel right beside each other. The brain strings them like beads, not by year, but by emotion. Your first heartbreak may sit next to last year's goodbye, your childhood joy beside a recent moment of laughter, because, in your brain's scrapbook, time is not a sequence, it is a constellation. And when you dream, time becomes softer still. Your mind may walk through old places with people no longer. Here, you may feel 12 and 60 in the same breath. This, too, is memory's grace. It reminds you that time is not just what has passed, but what lives within. You are not the sum of minutes and days. You are the shape of what you've felt, what you've kept, what you still carry. So tonight, as your breath slows, let go of the ticking dot, step into the slower time. The timeless time where your memories float like lanterns in the stillness. Because, in the final chapter, we will listen to the oldest voice within, the whisper of a memory not made by words, nor by moments, but by life itself. The memory that belongs not to the mind, but to the soul of being alive, before you had a name, before a single neuron fired its first spark. Something deeper was already remembering. Not a specific moment, not a story, not an image, but the feeling of being. There is a memory inside you that was never written. It wasn't stored by your brain or shaped by your thoughts. It lives beneath them, like groundwater beneath the roots of a tree. This is embodied memory. Cellular knowing, the quiet truth your body carries before language. It is the reason a baby knows to cry, to reach, to cling. Not from thought, but from an ancient sense that to connect is to survive. Even now, this primal memory moves within you. It's not something you recall, it's something you are. The memory of light against skin. The hum of a heartbeat near your own. The warmth of another being without needing a single word. These are not thoughts. They are truths, inherited from the nervous system of every ancestor who ever survived. You come from a long, unbroken chain of life that remembered how to go on. Every cell in your body knows how to listen, how to respond, how to adapt. And these patterns, these silent instructions, are forms of memory, too. Not stored in the mind, but folded into flesh, into blood, into the rhythm of your breath and the way your heart pauses when something matters. Even in stillness, your body remembers. The curve of your spine is a memory of movement across millions of years. Your reflexes, your senses, the way your lungs know to deepen when the air grows quiet, all of it is the echo of life keeping itself alive. And beyond the physical, there's something else, something wordless, timeless, the memory of belonging, of matter shaped by stardust, of energy that once burned in the heart of a star and now rests gently in your chest. You are not separate from the story of the universe. You are a chapter still unfolding, and the deepest memory inside you may be the one that reminds you, even in your loneliness, your quiet, your forgetting, you have always been part of something vast, and patient, and shimmering. This is not a memory of the mind, it is a memory of being. The stillness before thought, the presence before self, the gentle knowing that you belong here. And so, as you drift tonight, let the noise of memory fall away, let the names go, let the facts dissolve. You do not need to hold every moment to be whole. You are whole even in forgetting, because what remains is deeper than thought. It is the memory of being alive, a quiet hum beneath everything, a pulse inside the dark, a whisper without language, saying, "You are here. You have always been here. And this moment is enough." Good night from the Dream Lab. May your thoughts float gently, and your neurons whisper you home.